So today we've got the R44 Performance G87 BMW M2 competition down with us. We're just taking a full look underneath it, seeing what the suspension's like and designing some parts up, and we're also going to add some bits in that we've machined as well to get this handling best we can for the fast road use, which is this car's purpose. So take a look at the front first. It's very similar to the G8X rear-wheel drive cars, so the M3 and M4 G80, G82. Very similar suspension components up front, very similar subframe, anti-roll bar and shock. So yeah, very similar in terms of componentry, which is a great system with longer control arms than the F8X platform, which gives less camber gain and gives less geometry changes through the range of travel, which is quite a nice touch. And then going to the back, it's a very familiar sight where we've got extremely similar rear end to the F8X cars and again the G80 and G82 M4s. So what we've got back here is our adjustable rear tow arms fitted. We fit these as a fast road option because these take away a lot of flex from the OEM arm with a rubber bush, and it means that when they're installed, when you're going through the corner, there is no toe changing occurring due to the flex in the rubber bushes. So with these installed, we also have no compromises in rear geometry. So as standard, when you're moving your camber and your toe settings, if you want to run quite a lot of camber, you run out of toe adjustment to get the toe in that's required to keep the chassis stable and give it the grip it needs. But with these arms, there's no compromise left anymore, so we can set more toe in and more camber and get the chassis working at its optimum for fast road use. So we just finished working on the G87 M2, so that's now got the rear toe arms on there and it's all aligned, ready for some fast road use, just to get a little bit more out of the chassis. And now we're on the ramp, we've got the other car from R44 and it's their G80 M3 Xdrive. So we've been doing a few mods on this because they're going for some pretty big power. So this has been more of a focus on how to put that power down. So up front, we've fitted our solid front control arm bushes. These remove all the flex from the front of the suspension going forwards and backwards under heavy braking and under hard acceleration, and just keeps the grip at the front far more consistent. Up at the front as well on the Xdrives, you've got slightly more revised hubs and dampers than the rear-wheel drives with the shorter shock to clear the shaft, so a little bit different between the two platforms, but the bush fits between the two perfectly. Then if we go backwards, where most of the action's at, we've got the KW Haas kit fitted, that's front and rear, and we've also installed a set of our solid rear control arms for the toe. So these are in there to reduce the flex under throttle, and on the big power cars under really heavy throttle, the rubber bushes can flex slightly, changing the amounts of grip available as the car accelerates down the drag strip or down the road. They also mean that when you go through the corner, it prevents the flex from happening and stops that toe setting from changing itself. It also allows us to set exactly what we're looking for back here in terms of toe setting. So no matter where we set the camber bolt, there's no limitations for where we want to put the toe, and we can run more toe in than we would be able to as standard to put more traction down to let this grip up properly and put as much traction down as possible so we can get some good times out of it. So with those installed, we're going to put the car down, and utilising the KW Haas kit and the parts we've installed, we can give the car a full corner weight and alignment. That's going to balance the grip between each tyre as evenly as possible to get as even amount of traction as possible for the driver. When that's done, we're going to give it a full geometry alignment and put our camber and toe settings on the car and just get as much grip out of the chassis as physically possible.